right now, Vermont State Police, TJ Donovan, Vincent Aluzzi from the State's Attorney's Office. Okay, they're all in together, but they're all trying to silence me and my daughter. Back in 2017, when I moved back from Florida to Vermont, I had a 2-year restraining order from being assaulted, sexually abused, and more by a carnival owner. I was locked in a home, out away from nobody. I was terrorized, harassed, abused, and raped. And Levy County, Florida, they didn't do anything about it. But I have a restraining order that was granted for 2 years, okay? They allowed me to be displaced during that period of time. I came back, it was March of 2017 that I got away from my abuser. With a restraining order, I was finally able to flee Florida and go back to Vermont to be with my children. And when I got up there, KVCAP, not KVCAP, but Northeast Kingdom, NECA, Community Action, they put me into a domestic violence home, and when I had a chance to go get my medical records, they sent me a Facebook message and told me that obviously I thought my truck was better living quarters. Now, mind you, it was like 20 degrees out, okay? So they kicked me out of the apartment. Well, what they did is they placed my daughter and her boyfriend and his brother in my apartment. How did that happen? Is it because he's an informant? Well, this is where the story starts, okay? So they ended up with everything of mine. I got kicked out of the apartment, and then it was a systematic bias shutdown because not KVCAP, but NECA had shut me out. I had a hearing on it. They shut me out because NECA wouldn't give the proper information to the hearing judge, okay? So this is the beginning of the systematic bias shutout. So then they said in May of 2017 that I was no longer disabled, that the state of Vermont wanted me to have another evaluation done. Well, PTSD doesn't go away. So what happened was I went to this quack doctor over at Northeast Kingdom Mental Health Services in Derby, Vermont, who told me there was nothing he could do for me because I wouldn't take his silly pills. So Aaron Billings, they sent me to him. He was a counselor. And mind you, that silly quack doctor said that he found me to still be 100% disabled. PTSD doesn't go away. Domestic violence involved, okay? So Aaron Billings, who has apparently been found to be charged with felon crimes in Essex County Court recently, being charged of squatting at a home, whatever. I don't know if he did or not, but I can tell you what he did do was he called me in July of 2017. I have a witness to prove it, that was sitting right beside me and told me that they're after me, being these people, being the ones we're talking about, the cops, the human services, and everybody that I have complained about is after me. Okay, so then it ended up being that Montpelier Social Security office took out all my medical records. And then they said that I was no longer disabled, blah, 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 whatever. Then they claimed, once they got my medical records, that they claimed that they didn't receive the ones from the quack doctor. They only received the ones from the counselor, which was automatically denying me, okay? Saying that they didn't receive the information. However, I have proof in my case, through my attorney, that I, got all the information sent into them. So where did it end up going wrong between Montpelier and who? So after that, I had a hitman that called me and threatened me. And then nobody ever did anything about that either. So in 2018, when I went to the mansion, after Robert had told me anytime, hey, it doesn't matter, even if he's dead, I could go there and please take care of it. So that's what I did. I went to the mansion. And, well, the cops came after me being there for a couple months and told me that they were scared for my safety. That was in Guilford, Maine. Scared for my safety, and that there was some stuff going on around there and they needed for me to leave. So they asked me if I had a place to go. Well, of course I'm not going to tell them where I'm going. It's not their business because I know that they're after me as well. And when that dark-haired cop said to me, are those your clothes up there on second floor in the first bedroom on the right on the bed? Why did he know that? Knowing that I lived there, knowing that I had power on, and now the mansion got burned down. Why'd the mansion get burned down? Why'd I get chased out of my home? Okay? So, here I am. I go back to Vermont, and I'm on my family's property, still, that was generational family property that I had previously been given permission to go to in 2016, and I didn't know that there was any difference. Nobody ever told me, and there wasn't a difference. So I had the power on, and I was living there, and everybody knowing I lived there, even the bank that said that they were going to take it over and they were going to auction it off. Well, they showed up and they didn't auction it off because nobody showed up other than me. And so they knew I was living there. They knew I had power on, and they also knew that I had filed for a protection from harassment against the state of Vermont, the police, and the government agents that have done this to me. So also noting that I had traveled to get away from all of this monotony and missionary duty and being a Quaker leader. Its simplicity, I stayed to myself. I had offered to work at it, work the land, growing gardens and providing food for the community. And through the food bank of Vermont, I was denied the right to open up a pantry and be provided through them to help my community. And that's a government organized situation. They told me I wouldn't be able to do it because I'd have to email my order, and because I have a pacemaker, they wouldn't allow me to do it. Now, mind you, this is all conspiracy. I believe, and I still have all the emails. That's a fact. So back in, we come around to 2018, they wouldn't allow me, the state of Vermont police officers and all, conspired the situation and told me that I had to leave the motel that I had permission to do work at, and I had full intent to purchase. Okay, so Bellows Falls Police Department, now they get involved, and they tried, David Bemis tried what? He tried to arrest me and tried to chase me out of town because he knew that I was there doing public investigation in civil journalism. So he tried to charge me frivolously. He told me my license was no good, blah, blah, blah. My license was fine. We already proved that. So there again, another sworn oath officer lying through his fucking teeth. And just as a result, maybe just karma, but I can tell you right now, with all the information I turned in, the chief of police of Bellows Falls got fired, so did the town manager, and I'm not done yet. So with that being said, Tracy Shriver, whatever her last name is, that works with TJ Donovan, well, they happen to have close family ties, as well as their family ties are with my family ties, so that is a violation and a conflict of interest. So everything that the state of Vermont, all the Donovans, Kennedys, and Howes that run Department of Children and Family Services and Human Services, well, that's a conflict of interest, because you see, Howes wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my grandfather and grandmother. Therefore, that's a conflict of interest because they're family, without a doubt. So I have bringing all this to the attention of the public and the social media, and I am bringing it to Washington, D.C., that I have been violated time and time again by TJ Donovan from the state of Vermont. He's the Attorney General. He lies, cheats, and steals. We all know that. He's very abusive. And so, knowing that he's okay with Jeffrey Hare abusing my daughter, making her run for her life, and then it led to House for Justice, because you see, they kept on getting my daughter addicted. She ended up in prison, in the worst women's prison in Ocala, Florida, as what? As a product of being sexually trafficked and human trafficking by Border Patrol agents, Vermont State Police, politicians, and more. School officials. And I want them all investigated. I want every single one of them investigated. And this report is to the FBI, to Washington, D.C. Thank you kindly.